how much worse the situation is going to get. But what the residents are really calling for is to have Joburg water officials come and address them. They are saying that, obviously they've seen some of the notices from Joburg Water, but they haven't had officials come on the ground and speak to them. So that's what they're calling for right now.
Jabulile, no doubt you'll continue monitoring that situation for us. Jabulile Mbata, EWN reporter in Westbury for us. The situation tense there as residents are protesting and police opening fire with rubber bullets as well. Concerns there about water. And we know that Westbury has been really hard hit by a lack of water supply. And they want Joburg Water to come and speak to them. I see other places also saying that they're without water. Emmarentia apparently without water too. Obviously we've spoken about this at length, the extent of water problems in Gauteng, the inconsistency, and Westbury residents have had enough.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently.
So yesterday afternoon and into the evening and the night, we were watching a situation around a hostage situation in Mamelodi East, a police officer taking members of his family hostage inside a house in buffer zone. That standoff started at around 8 a.m. yesterday when police responded to reports of a family dispute. This, of course, all developed through the evening and sadly ended in a murder-suicide. Khomotso Modise, EWN reporter, was there until the early hours of this morning. Khomotso, good afternoon to you. Thanks for your time. I'm sure very difficult to have been there for several hours and for this to end the way it did.
Definitely, Mandy. I think when we arrived in the early evening, it looked as though things were moving. More police officers were arriving on the scene, and there were even more emergency services personnel that were arriving. But it really took a while for the situation to develop. Initially, we had started seeing movement towards the gate where police negotiators were working. They had cordoned the area off, and it seemed they were negotiating with the 32-year-old police officer, Tapelo Mashego, for him to, surrender his firearm and to come out, but also to release the hostages. Eventually, about 3-4 hours after I arrived, he did release his mother, a 69-year-old woman, who then was given medical attention. And while we were waiting to find out what happens with his nephew, about an hour and a half later, we then heard from police that he had shot the nephew and then he turned the gun on himself.
And could you, were you able to follow the developing situation as it was unfolding?
Mandy, it was really tough because of the way that police had cordoned the area off. Both sides of the street had been closed off, and that's because of the specialized units that were working on the scene, as well as the police negotiators. I had tried to approach some officers to as close to the house as possible, and they had said that this is an extremely sensitive situation. So it was hard to follow exactly what was happening. I can tell you, though, that I did see the negotiators from time to time outside the gates trying to communicate with him. But it did take 16 hours for them to eventually get into the house and for the hostage situation to come to an end. It's unfortunate that it ended in such a tragic way. But yeah, the police were speaking about how it was a really, really sensitive situation, especially because they knew that he was armed, and he had been armed from 8 a.m. And eventually ended up using the firearm.
Khomotso, thank you very much. Khomotso Modise, EWN reporter, who was following that story in Mamelodi East. And ironically, today is World Suicide Prevention Day, and we'll be speaking to SADAG about that a bit later on. Hope starts with talking. That's the theme of World Suicide Prevention Day. And sadly, that hostage situation ending in murder-suicide. Real growth needs more than just banking, and Nedbank Commercial Banking is your growth partner. Their team of industry experts understand your business and its potential, offering insight to help you see opportunity where others see obstacles. Because when you can see what others don't, you can do what others can't. Think bigger, Think Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently. Nedbank is a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Mzansi, the wait is finally over. The great South African sale is here. Explore more for less with up to 50% off travel deals. Surf the waves, hike the hills, enjoy Gasi, and explore the wild. Book from 8 to 14 September 2025. Visit shortleft.co.za to book now and travel later. After all, it's your country. Enjoy it. Because nothing's more fun than a short left. Hashtag TravelWise Mzansi. T's and C's apply.
One festival, endless flavor, and 2 unforgettable days of timeless music. The DSTV Delicious International Food and Music Festival, powered by Lotto Star, returns on 20 and 21 September at Kyalami Grand Prix Circuit. On Saturday, the stage erupts with Don Toliver, Questa, and Nkabi Zezwe. Then on Sunday, experience the legendary Lauryn Hill, Wyclef Jean, Lyra, and more. The DSTV Delicious Festival, powered by Lotto Star. Tickets at Ticketmaster.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car with a family driving to their new home, carrying boxes stacked with plates and toys and memories. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's a new beginning, a fresh start on the move. Every story's different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
And now it's back to Mandy Wiener on the Midday Report.
This is 702.
Let's walk the talk.
17 minutes past 12 on the Midday Report with me, Mandy Wiener. Yesterday, we told you about how the police minister, Feroz Kachalia, was in Mitchell's Plain along with the Deputy Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, Andries Nel. The Deputy Minister's also been visiting courts in the Western Cape because of concerns around safety at these courts, particularly in Athlone, where we saw yet another shooting taking place last week. So earlier today, I did an interview with the Deputy Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, Andries Nel, about safety at our courts. Take a listen. Thank you very much for your time, Deputy Minister. You've been in the Western Cape the past few days, having a look at courts, engaging with communities around safety at courts specifically. What are some of the concerns that have emerged?
Thank you very, very much. If I could just start maybe by a bit of background to say that in addition to being Deputy Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, it's also my constituency is in Mitchell's Plain, an area that is very, very heavily affected by gang violence. And secondly, the President has appointed me to be one of the 3 district development model champions for the city of Cape Town. So I'm very, very heavily invested on all fronts on the issue. We've had the 4th shooting in or at our courts. It's an issue that concerns both us, the Minister Kubai, myself, as well as the judiciary led by the Chief Justice. And therefore on Monday, Judge President Mabindle Bokwana and I visited the Athlone court where there had been an incident on Friday last week. The Judge President came with two judges, Judges Erasmus and Legransi. Leadership of the district and the regional courts were all there. And I mean, our message was just first of all, to talk to those who work in our courts, the cleaners, the clerks, the legal aid attorneys, the prosecutors, to empathize with them in having gone through that traumatic experience, to reassure them of our support. Obviously, then, our courts don't exist as islands. They are part of the community that they serve, and therefore also beset by the same problems. And therefore, it was very good the next day to be able to join forces with the Minister of Police and the Deputy Minister Bushielo to visit Mitchell's Plain and Athlone. And I think what's coming out very clearly from both those 2 visits is, first of all, in Mitchell's Plain, that people are saying that we've got to address the underlying socioeconomic causes of gangsterism: unemployment, better education, skills development and opportunities for young people, and also very importantly, things like recreational and sports facilities to keep young people out of the clutches of gangs. Also, there was a very strong call in the Mitchell's Plain meeting to say we need the army, send in the army, but not an army of soldiers. We need an army of social workers to also come and attend to many of the social problems giving rise to this problem. It's also very important because, in a sense, our courts are caught in the crossfire of the gangs in prison and the gangs in the community. And they're using our courts as a point at which to, one, smuggle contraband in and out of prison, including weapons, drugs. Two, it's a point where they can send out communication, including orders to take hits on people. And that is also accounting for some of the problems that we face in our courts, especially the holding cells, where gangsters, known gangsters, are making appearances in those holding cells for no good reason. They're not appearing in court, there's no subpoena, there's nothing. They're obviously corrupting warders and court orderlies to facilitate their activities. So we're really proposing a 5-point approach. Firstly, to strengthen the security presence, both of security personnel and police inside and outside the courts. Secondly, to have a much stronger partnership with the police, and that's something that Minister Kachalia very readily agreed to, a meeting this afternoon between the Judge President, myself, and himself and his team, looking at the possibility of mobile stations around our courts, looking at the possibility of a dedicated police unit to safeguard our courts. Thirdly, we as Justice have to be a lot more innovative using technology such as virtual links between our courts and the prisons to obviate the need for remand detainees to be moved physically. Fourthly, we've got to beef up the infrastructure and the equipment at our courts, and we're happy that that's already started, that we have much better, more advanced metal detectors in place, including at courts like Wynberg, where on the same day that we were visiting Athlone, our security personnel were able to pick up someone trying to smuggle in a firearm, apprehend them and confiscate the firearm. But lastly, we've got to instill a culture of integrity and discipline in the officials that work in our courts. Because the reality is, and the officials that we met with were very clear that they know there are rotten apples, and they know who those rotten apples are amongst them.
How worried are you about this being a deterrent to people seeking justice and coming to court?
Absolutely worried about that very, very much, because I mean our whole constitutional democracy rests on 3 big pillars: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. Now, if people are afraid to be approaching the judicial arm of the state in a constitutional democracy, that's a very, very, very big problem. And remember, our courts don't only hear cases. They provide a range of other services as well. That's where women go to get protection orders, where maintenance matters are dealt with, where family advocate matters are dealt with. There's a whole suite of services rendered, especially at our district and regional courts, where if people are afraid to go there, it's a huge problem, and that's why we're taking this issue so seriously.
We've seen a rise in targeted assassinations in the country. With, obviously Boa Fanikak last week. We haven't reached the point yet where judges have been targeted like they have been in Mexico. Are you hoping to mitigate this problem before, God forbid, that happens?
No, very, 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 very much. And remember, we might not have reached the assassination stage, but a number of our judicial officers, not necessarily specifically targeted them, But there are very, very senior members of the judiciary that have experienced hijackings, especially at the Johannesburg High Court, coming in and out. You do know that our prosecutors, most recently in Gqeberha, have been assassinated. So the personnel of our justice system are under threat, and we are taking the necessary measures, which also would be one of the subjects for discussion at this afternoon's meeting with the Minister of Police.
Deputy Minister, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Deputy Minister Andrew Snell speaking to me earlier today. So that meeting taking place this afternoon between the Minister of Justice and the Minister of Police around court safety. Some good suggestions on the WhatsApp line. Is it not possible to rotate prison warders every 2 months to prevent the familiarity that is at the root of corruption? And an acknowledgement there that it's an inside job here. It's the fact that police officers and prison officials and court orderlies are being bribed in order to assist. And that's why I think that 5-point plan is pretty good. We just need to make sure we get it right. And I'm very concerned about the safety and security of judges. Because we have seen prosecutors, Tracy Brown as an example, in the Eastern Cape being killed. So they need to make sure that they get this under control ASAP. And then Johan says, obviously the criminals have too much luxury and protection in the prisons. Time to introduce hard labor so that criminals can get corrected through correctional service. In Bophuthatswana, the word around the prison was clear: don't do crime, don't go to the prison, it's hell. Thus the people on the streets and town could live safely. I do think we're in a different time now. I appreciate your sentiment. But what was that quote from Nelson Mandela? You judge a people by the way that they treat their prisoners. So I just don't see that happening. And I think that there's always going to be concerns around human rights. But what we're seeing at the moment in terms of how they are leveraging corruption in order to order hits, very, very concerning.
WhatsApp Mandy
on 072 702 1702.
Hi, Mandy. It's appalling to listen to the Deputy Minister talking about actually pumping his own tires. Yeah, what he was appointed for and all of that, while they're busy reacting to something that happened at Athlone Magistrate Court when people managed to get into the court with guns. He's just bluffing, honestly.
Good day, Mandy. You see, people from Westbury, I do sympathize with them, but they block the roads. They block the main road. They block on the cars. They burn tires. So where is peaceful there? Is there peaceful when people block the roads? No, they're not peaceful. They must agree they're not peaceful. They are in distress, but that's not peaceful when they are blocking road. I'm a motorist. I'm also going home with my own problems. But why should you block the road?
And another message on the WhatsApp line from Alfred says, hi Mandy, how can burning tires and blocking the road be classified as a peaceful protest? Yeah, that's the same sentiment there, that it's not a peaceful protest taking place. And we've seen police open fire with rubber bullets trying to calm a very tense situation in Westbury. So I think that maybe that's just a PR approach. And the point of a protest is to show that you're protesting, right? And that's exactly what they're doing. So I'm not sure why they're trying to diminish it.
We don't need the support. We don't need the minister and Judge Erasmus and a whole lot of constituents or parliamentary leaders to arrive at courts and sympathize with the attorneys and the people that work there. We need working metal detectors. We need security staff who are equipped with radios and are present on every floor of the court, not 16 of them sitting on the ground floor. This is the same problem that happened in Weinberg. These issues can be addressed. We don't need to talk about it. We need functional equipment in our courts. Printers that work, computers that work, metal detectors that work. That's what we need. It's not a complicated issue.
And that sounds like a very frustrated legal practitioner that knows a thing or two about how the courts are operating. Let's see tangible change and actual security measures being put in place. 12:30, time for Eyewitness News headlines.
Thanks, Mandy. Good afternoon. Chaos erupted in the Johannesburg High Court today, just moments after the sentencing of 7 Chinese nationals. A relative of one of the convicts says the group is being used as scapegoats for a larger crime ring. The 7 were each handed a 20-year prison sentence for human trafficking, kidnapping and forced labor. The group was arrested in a Hawks-led operation which led to the rescue of 91 Malawians, 37 of whom were children who had been forced to work in a Johannesburg factory in 2019. The man accused of torching the hijacked Usindiso building in Marshalltown in 2023 has altered his version of events, now claiming he has no idea how the fire started. This contradicts his 2 previous confessions in which he admitted to using petrol to start the blaze, which killed 76 people. Sthembiso Mdlalosa is on trial at the Palm Ridge Magistrates Court, facing multiple counts of murder, attempted murder as well as arson. And Tshwane Mayor Nasiphi Moya says the city is on track to hit its investment and growth targets as the Tshwane Investment Summit kicks off today. Moya has been speaking at the inaugural Investment Summit in Menlyn, where she was joined by city officials, Finance and Economic Development MEC Lebogang Maile, as well as some investors. Those are the headlines, this EWN and more at 1 or as it happens.
EWN Sport.
Good morning, I'm Anthony Teixeira. Bafana Nigeria played out a 1-1 draw in their 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifier as South Africa move one way a win from sealing a spot at next year's tournament. Coach Hugo Bruce was pleased with the side's performance.
This is a performance of the team. Some players were better than others, but the best team will win the game, not the team with the best players. The proof is there. The performance that my team made today in this game makes me enormous proud. It was not good football. Not at all. But the way they fight for every meter, for every ball, I think this is nice to see for a coach.
Cape Verde is also 1 win away from the showpiece. They shot Cameroon 1-0 and are now just 3 points away from a first ever appearance at the World Cup, with games against Libya and Eswatini next month. In cricket, the Proteas will play a first game following that record 342-run loss in the ODI against England. T20 captain Aidan Markram says they'll be looking to show that it was just a bad day at the office and not a true reflection of their form.
The last one was just one of those bad days, I guess. So generally as a white ball group, feeling in a pretty decent space, and another exciting series ahead that starts tomorrow, and that's pretty much where all the conversations and focus has been.
They begin the 3-match T20 series against England at 7:30 this evening. And in cycling, Volta Spanger organisers have clarified they'll be finishing the race in Spain on Sunday. Several stages of the Grand Tour have been shortened after pro-Palestinian protesters disrupted the routes. Race director Javier Guillen reminded protesters it's illegal to block cyclists and that they're fully committed to reaching Madrid for the final stage, with no plan B having been pitched. Anthony Teixeira, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this stage in Gauteng, things looking really good. No accidents have been reported on our highways. However, in the mother city, we're still dealing with protests. This is in Khayelitsha on Swartklip Road. That road is closed off to traffic between Baden-Powell and Steve Biko. Motorists have been advised to avoid the area. Also congestion on the N1 inbound approaching Wade Bridge. Roadworks still causing heavy delays on the N2 outgoing. This is approaching Makasa Road, and also roadworks causing some delays N2 outbound heading towards the R300 interchange. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
This is Jade. She'll spend hours comparing almond milk and once made a spreadsheet just for sneakers. But when she found Santam, ASA's leading short-term insurer that offers a range of cover options from vehicle to building and home contents, even she didn't overthink it. The kind of freedom Santam gives you takes some getting used to. Speak to your broker. Santam, this is freedom. Santam is an authorized FSP, a licensed non-life insurer and controlling company for its group companies.
Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is hopeful. But
love can make you do unbelievable things.
Is love shocking?
What kind of love is this?
Is love blind?
If love was blind was a person, it would be Dr. Nandipa.
Is love worth it?
Her light was not there anymore.
Would you cross the line for love? Watch Beauty and the Beaster, 12 September, only on Netflix. Basic plan from 99 Rand per month. T's and C's apply.
In ancient Corinth, as Alexander the Great approached the philosopher Diogenes and offered to grant him any wish, Diogenes simply replied, "Stand a little out of my sun." At Plus 94 Research, we believe in illuminating the path to informed decisions. By removing the shadows of uncertainty, we let the light of data-driven insights shine through. Don't let assumptions cloud your vision. Step into the light of clarity. Plus 94 Research, the science of decision-making.
That's the sound of your business growing. Whether you're starting out or scaling up, turn your passion into profit with Capitec Business Banking. Save up to 50% on fees. Get fast credit approvals, personalized support, and Forex for your business. Open your business banking account on our app. Bank on better with Capitec, the business bank for everyone. Capitec is an authorized FSP, 46669. T's and C's apply.
WhatsApp Mandy
on 072 702 1702.
Good day, Mandy. Good day, Mandy. I think the only language the government understands is the protest and the strike. That's the only language they understand, these people. Because how come a person stay 5 days without water? That's a basic need, guys. How come you can stay 5 days without water? I think I'm not blaming them, the resident of Flagfontein, the other places. I'm not blaming them at all.
Hi, Mandy. This is Simon from Veldefien Park. It's very strange and very sad that we have water shortages in Joburg in many areas, and everybody knows about this. But I haven't had much, from the government, going against what we see happening in townships where people are celebrating, Spring Day, pouring each other with water, and it's like a whole fiesta of water, and water has been used as props for parties. So I don't know, how we can, strike a balance, and when people are, doing the things that we're doing. What are our politicians saying about this thing?
Personally, I'm more concerned about the massive water leaks, which the city acknowledges that we're losing tons and tons of water through on a daily basis. And I think that that's probably exponentially way more than, but I think we just need a culture in Joburg specifically, a lot like Cape Town had when it was approaching day zero, of valuing water and looking after water and not wasting water. And I'm not sure Joburg has that at the moment.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 and Cape Talk is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently.
Earlier today, the Minister of International Relations, Ronald Lamola, spoke before Parliament's Portfolio Committee on International Relations, Cooperation and Justice. He was speaking about South Africa's case against Israel at the International Court of Justice, giving an update on that. Take a listen to what he had to say.
And humanitarian law is applied across the globe in all conflicts that affect humanity. South Africa will continue to act within its institutions of global governance to protect the rights, including the fundamental rights to life, of Palestinians in Gaza and of all people in conflict areas, in Sudan, in South Sudan, in the DRC, or in any part of the world where there are conflicts. The UN Charter remains sacrosanct. We have also joined initiatives such as the A Group, which was established to protect and uphold international obligations to end the illegal Israeli occupation and to support the realization of the inalienable rights of the Palestinian people, including the self-determination and to independence in a sovereign state of the Palestinians. We recently co-chaired a meeting of the group with Colombia and Bogota, where 30 countries participating. The establishment of the Hague Group and the recent meeting of the Madrid Group seeks the same outcome.
That's the Minister of International Relations, Ronald Lamola. Apologies for the quality of that sign, but just to give you a sense of that, speaking about how his department is committed to see South Africa's case against Israel at the ICJ through to its conclusion.
702, the Midday Report, Monday to Friday.
12 to 1 p.m.
12:40 on the Midday Report, and a judgment being handed down today in the matter of, or sentencing rather, in the matter involving several Chinese nationals who are involved in the trafficking of illegal immigrants into South Africa and subjecting them to forced labor. During that blitz, you may remember the story, 91 Malawian nationals were found in a factory. 37 of them were children. Mongezi Koko, EWN reporter on that story for us. Mongezi, good afternoon to you. Tell us about the sentencing of the 7 human traffickers.
Good afternoon, Mandy. Well, today's proceedings were quite brief. Of course, the judge then read out his judgment with regards to sentencing today, outlining that the case really was one that needed a serious judgment and serious repercussions. He did maintain that he will show some mercy while delivering sentencing. Mandy, he also highlighted the importance of setting a precedent for future cases such as these, and also just to deter likelihood criminals from committing such crimes. Now, it's important to note that all the charges that they faced over 160 and were found guilty of 150, and ultimately all of them, these being 7 of the accused, all face 20 years behind bars. The 8th count, or rather the 8th person charged, was the company that they operated, which also faces a charge of contravening a number of labor relation acts, and this granted them a 300,000 rand fine. But Mandy, I must also take you through what happened right after judgment was handed down with regards to sentencing. One of the accused daughter, who goes by the name Nancy Shao, then started speaking out, particularly towards the media who were present, making allegations very serious at that there is a syndicate operating within Johannesburg, primarily focused within the Dragon City, China City areas, where she claims that a number of these illegal foreigners are being brought in by kingpins and being forced to work under serious conditions. And she also stated that of those who were found guilty, none of them really knew about these operations in that regard. I want you to take a listen to what she had to say.
They're all lying. Hello. The hell is this?
Hello. What are they lying about?
What?
What are they lying about?
The owner is right here in this country. They're still running business here.
Right.
They're all employed. The boss is right here in this country.
Have you told the police about the real owner?
The real owner is right here in this country. You know that? I tell you, that big boss, he has a gang-related background in this Chinese community in this country. Where is he now? He's living in this country, in this town. In Bruma.
So, Mongezi, I want to make sure that I understand this correctly. So this woman is the daughter of one of those that was sentenced today. And she's saying, what exactly is she saying about the syndicate that's operating?
Well, Mandy, that is true. She's the daughter of accused number 6 who suffered a stroke in January this year. And what she's saying essentially is that the accused, who were all arrested and sentenced, were not really linked to the syndicate. What she's saying is that there are people who run businesses which operate guns and, of course, trafficking of these illegal foreigners. And she says that the police are failing to see this. She also presented some of the people who were in court, and I'm talking about officials, including some from the Hawks and the NPA. She showed them pictures of the accused or the said person who she believes is running the syndicate. And of course, the Hawks have then vowed to launch an urgent investigation into this matter, stating that they will be investigating the allegations. She is in conversation with the SAPS, some of the investigators from there. So it's really something that is large, and we are only going to see the ramifications at a later stage.
Mongezi, thank you very much. Mongezi Koko, EWN reporter, speaking to us there about that sentencing of 7 human traffickers in court today. I've heard this before, and I know that this is something that is somewhat of a sensitive topic about a potential syndicate operating out of Dragon City. I haven't heard it in the past recent years, but it's been something that's been around for a while. But if she has evidence, she needs to go to authorities, as you heard there from Mongezi, about what is happening. But that situation about the Chinese human traffickers and the Malawian nationals, a couple of WhatsApp message is coming through on that. The 20-year sentence is not enough in their home country. They would have received appropriate sentences. And then there was another one that I wanted to read to you about this. Dumelang, Mandy and team, the story involving the Chinese and Malawian nationals is very disturbing. Can we please hear more on that story in the coming days from Kingsley? Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to unpack that a little bit further for you.
702. Mandy Wiener.
Weekdays 12 to 1 p.m.
Well, let's go to the city of Tshwane now. It's hoping to find 5 billion rand in investments in a bid to turn the municipality around. The city hoping to woo investors at its inaugural investment summit today. Mayor Nasipi Moya saying that she hopes the upcoming summit will showcase the city as a viable investment destination. Nokukanya Mtambo, EWN reporter at the summit for us. Nokukanya, good afternoon to you. How is Tshwane going to win over investors?
Good afternoon, Mandy, to you and the listeners as well. It's really a hard sell for the Tshwane municipality here, speaking to investors about the assets that they're putting up into the market for them to buy into. And all of this really goes back to their 2029 goals, where they're hoping to by then be able to grow the economy by about 3.9% each year, to be able to attract about 17 to 26 billion rand in investments by 2029 and to build 80,000 jobs by then. And all of that starts with this particular investment summit and smaller chunks. Trying to get to that particular goal in smaller chunks. You mentioned that 5 billion rand target for the end of the year, and part of that is putting up those assets. We spoke about this, Mandy, when we had the Mayor Nasipi Moya sometime at the end of last month. The Tshwane Showgrounds, the dilapidated Tshwane Showgrounds, getting that up to capacity and getting investors into that. The Rooiwal power plant, for example, bulk water infrastructure, getting investors to buy into those and being a part of it. And so all of it again boils down to infrastructure, your water, your electricity, your roads, your air. And they've mapped out really during the portion of this morning, Mandy, the precincts that they're going to be focusing on, including Rosslyn, which is an automotive manufacturing hub really here in Tshwane. If you're getting the Wonderboom airport, for example, up and running properly, you're able to transport goods as well as people across the country as well. It doesn't work up to capacity at the moment, but there are plans to make sure that they bring in investors for both commercial and domestic use as well. When it comes to Wonderboom, you've also got Marabastad, for example, as one of the other precincts that they want to build up, and that looks at making sure that it's a mixed-use precinct where you've got high-density use for residential use, for commercial use. So, the plan really is if you're able to get people who live within the city working in Marabastad, it's easier for transport, for example. You're building jobs, you're creating jobs in the process. But overall, Mandy, it's a total of about 21 investment projects, all with different timelines, starting with Q2 towards December now, and that includes, for example, the Marabastad precinct.
And what kind of response from investors? What's the kind of sentiment there?
They're certainly upbeat, Mandy, in terms of what partnerships they can get with the city. Last I spoke to Mayor Nasipi Moya, she had said there already were investment pledges. We are hoping in the next hour or so to get a sense of how many pledges and to what value those pledges are. At this point, they are keeping that for a bit later in the program, Mandy. But from what we gather, there certainly is an investor appetite when it comes to Tshwane and looking at all of those projects. But the exact quantity that we have at the moment, we will get a sense of a little later on in the day. But she's quite optimistic, the mayor is, and really the rest of the Tshwane officials, that they will be able to make that 5 billion rand target by the end of the year.
Nokukanya, thank you very much. Nokukanya Mtambo, EWN reporter. Interesting, the work that's being done by the Mayor Nasipi Moya, Dr. Nasipi Moya, trying to get investment into Tshwane. Does that strike you as a good investment opportunity? Is it something that you would consider investing in at the moment? We've had Nokukanya explaining to us why it could be or it should be, as the city tries to woo investors, hoping to get 5 billion rand in investments.
What do partners of the Gates Foundation do when facing the world's toughest challenges? They keep going. From discovering a plastic drape that helps detect excessive postpartum bleeding faster, to developing better bed nets to kill malaria-carrying mosquitoes, to researching an RSV vaccine that could save hundreds of thousands of children. For every problem, there are people who prove that progress is possible. The Gates Foundation, partners of human potential. Learn more at gatesfoundation.org/keep going.
Hollywood Bet Aziz Shege. Be in the Game is back for the new soccer season. Up for grabs is a share of 4 million rand in prizes, including the Toyota Rumion, Corolla Cross, Hilux 2.4 GD6 DC, and a Starlet Cross. To qualify, bet 10 rand or more on any soccer fixture or fixtures for your chance to score big. Bet now. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car with a parent shuttling his kids, with a back seat full of chatter, laughter, lunchboxes and lost shoes. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic. It's a regular yet special slice of a family's life. Every story's different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
WhatsApp Mandy
on 072 702 1702.
Mandy, that lady is right about the syndicate that is running in Dragon City. Even the police, they knew about it. They go to collect money every day there. Johannesburg, what do you call them? John Foster Police. Johannesburg Police Station. Every day they go there, Dragon City, they collect money. They know about this people. Even you can go now, you'll find those people, illegal foreigners there.
Good day, Mandy. Mandy, the water crisis in Westbury, Coronation, and Catharara Park, Claremont, Sophia Town, it's been going on for years. It's not a weeks thing. It's years, Mandy. Like it's honestly like it's heartbreaking because the community, like my mom complains a lot. During the day they don't have water, and sometimes they don't have water for a couple of days, and I have to bring her water all the time because she's elderly and she can't go to the water tankers and run and carry heavy bottles and things like that. But it's been going on for years. The water comes back in the middle of the night. That's the only time she gets to use the toilet and do her laundry and things like that. But it's been years. It's not a new thing. So Joburg Water does need to come and account to these people and explain what's going on.
Sure, it really has been going on for years. We've been reporting on it for years and years, and I know that it's been the subject of some political campaigning also. But Joburg Water does come, and then the water minister comes, and nothing ever actually gets done. And I can imagine how frustrated those residents are in those areas because it has been going on for years, and that's a basic human right. On the WhatsApp line, hi Mandy, the 20-year sentence should be a lesson to farmers, restaurant owners, and all lawbreakers who continue to employ foreigners, despite SA being the most unequal nation in the world and facing almost 50% unemployment rates. And hi Mandy, what happened to the Ethiopian kidnappers? We don't see them appearing at courts like these Chinese people. I remember that some were arrested, but I haven't followed that case. Maybe we should try and find out about that.
702 Mandy Wiener.
Weekdays 12 to 1 p.m.
Well, today is a World Suicide Prevention Day under the theme Hope Starts with Talking. And talking we are going to do with Dr. Zamo Mbele, SADAG board member and clinical psychologist. Dr. Mbele, good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for your time today. Why is it important for us to start talking to encourage hope when it comes to suicide prevention?
Hi, Mandy. I mean, speaking is not a weakness, as I think a lot of people would imagine, right? It's the first step to healing. And we know that every conversation that we start can be a thread to hope that keeps someone connected to life. And on this day where we're speaking about how do we prevent one, let alone 23, 24 suicides a day in South Africa, our message is let's speak. Let's encourage people to speak because that's how we're going to thread and spread hope. That's how individuals are going to know that whatever it is that they are stuck in or going through is not as hopeful as they experience it at that time. And that together, actually, we can find something hopeful for them to continue living a life, which is very important.
As a clinical psychologist, is it your sense that people are more willing to speak about their concerns now, that they are more comfortable talking than they were years ago, and that the sentiment has changed?
Right. So, I mean, I'd answer that in two ways, right? Like, I think that on the one hand, what I oftentimes speak about and have observed is that we live in the most connected society, right? We have the fastest connectivity. We have 3G, 5G, Starlink soon enough. We also have so many platforms that encourage connectivity, mostly social media, WhatsApp messaging. And like, you can't get away from people. However, I feel like we're the least connected people as a society than ever before. And I cannot emphasize that point more. We're the least connected people. And as a result, when we lose hope, it's very difficult for somebody else to pick that up and to infuse a little bit or a lot of hope in us, which is incredibly important when we all distress. You know, we know that every time we speak, we also give others permission to speak too. And that hope multiplies through conversation. So the second part of my answer is to say that I do find that once individuals allow themselves and give themselves permission to be in conversation, even if it's not with a professional, right, with loved ones around them, they soon enough find hope. And everybody listening to this will know it as a personal anecdote that when they connected with somebody with whatever difficulty they had, soon enough hope started to emerge and burgeon.
Any practical tips that you can give people about how to encourage others to talk?
I think the first one is to listen, right? Like the thing that I oftentimes say is one of the second frequently asked question in the world is, how are you? But it's the least attended to. And I think it's both by the recipient as well as the person asking it. So listening and being able to just slow down, take it easy, and avoid kind of the focus, attention, economy that we're on, and just listen to the person that you're with, and also just to listen to yourself is incredibly important. Listen, slow it down and listen. I think, of course, and very practically, we at SADC, we receive about 2,000 phone calls a day at a peak, and about 500 to 1,000 of those would be individuals who are calling a stranger saying they're in trouble. And I want to encourage people to know that there is somebody who's willing to listen and infuse hope. And you can call us at any point, 0800 567 567. And of course, we are an NGO NPO, so we do run a Back a Buddy campaign, and you'll see that on all of our platforms in order to support us.
Dr. Zama Mbele, clinical psychologist, board member at SADC, speaking to us there about World Suicide Prevention Day. Real growth needs more than just banking, and Nedbank Commercial Banking is your growth partner. Their team of industry experts understand your business and its potential, offering insight to help you see opportunity where others see obstacles. Because when you can see what others don't, you can do what others can't. Think bigger. Think Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently. Nedbank is a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Escape the ordinary at De Hoek Country Hotel, Magaliesburg. A haven of tranquility and a 5-star masterpiece. Unparalleled luxury and the perfect getaway. Just an hour from Joburg and Pretoria. Bring your team for an executive corporate breakaway. Plan an unforgettable wedding surrounded by breathtaking beauty. Indulge in exquisite fine dining and rejuvenate mind and body at our spa. Visit dehoek.com to discover your exclusive escape. De Hoek Country Hotel. Celebrate life where luxury meets serenity.
Dreaming of your next getaway? Whether it's a sun-soaked beach escape, adventure-packed tour, or luxury cruise, Flight Center is your go-to for travel. From flights and hotels to tours and cruises, we've got it all. Plus travel insurance for peace of mind. If you want the best deals, you can save more by taking advantage of our Bundle Plus Save offer. Plan your trip today at your nearest Flight Center store or visit flightcenter.co.za. Flight Center, your center for travel.
The Midday Report.
Thank you very much for joining us today. The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 and Cape Talk was brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. Think bigger, think Nedbank Commercial Banking. It's 1 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Chaos in court as 7 Chinese nationals are handed a heavy sentence, and Tshwane says it's on track to meet its investment targets. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Chinese nationals convicted on 160 charges, including human trafficking, have each been sentenced to 20 years in prison. They were arrested for kidnapping and forcing 91 Malawians to work in a Johannesburg factory in 2019. 37 of the people found during the Hawks-led operation were children. The court has also ordered their company to pay a fine of 300,000 rand. Judgment was handed down in the South Gauteng High Court a short while ago, where chaos then erupted shortly after. Mongezi Koko has the details.
It was after sentencing that the drama unfolded. The daughter of accused number 6, Nancy Shao, confronted reporters claiming her mother and her co-accused were being framed. She alleged a powerful kingpin is the real brain behind a kidnapping syndicate that smuggles illegal foreigners into the country.
The real owner is right here in this country. I tell you, that big boss, he has a gone